Hello, welcome to Allen Baptist Church Daily Bible Study. We're looking at characters in the Bible in an alphabetical order, and we're at the letter S. And today, the New Testament character Stephen. Stephen was one of those 7 men you find in Acts chapter 6 that were selected out, that were full of the Holy Spirit and wisdom to do a ministry that needed to happen in the church in Jerusalem, and that is a ministry to the Grecian or Greek-speaking widows that were being overlooked in the ministry of the church. And you find that all 7 of those guys had Greek names, so they were probably Jews who grew up in the Greco-Roman world speaking Greek, and were leaders in the church in Jerusalem, and were able to do that ministry. You find the story of Stephen, his life, in Acts chapter 6 through 8, and he died tragically. What happened was he got into a heated debate with the Jews in his home synagogue, and they could not stand against Stephen's wisdom, and they got very angry about that. They concocted a scheme to have him accused of blasphemy, and they ended up stoning him to death. So he died probably as a young man, but his influence didn't die, because the stoning was done under the authority of a rabbi named Saul, who later goes by the name of Paul. I want to read something that the Apostle Paul said in Acts chapter 22. And Paul speaking said, "And I said, Lord, they themselves understand that in one synagogue after another I used to imprison and beat those who believed in you. And when the blood of your witness Stephen was being shed, I was also standing by approving and watching out for the coats of those who were slaying him. And he said to me, Go, for I will send you far away to the Gentiles." The influence of Stephen, the influence of martyrs, people who are willing to stand no matter what it might cost them, like Stephen did. Well, in Acts chapter 11 and verse 19, we find it indicated that as a result of what happened with Stephen, persecution started in the church that spread, that pushed believers out of Jerusalem. Stephen dying, and the persecution that started to occur as a result of what he had done in preaching the gospel in front of people who didn't want to hear it. It may seem bad that persecution happened, but see, God was using this, and that is indicated in Acts chapter 11 that this persecution that arose with Stephen caused Christians to go out into the surrounding areas, indeed out into the world, to preach the gospel as Christ had asked them to do to start with. So it was a positive result. The influence of Stephen also, as we read there from Paul in chapter 22 of Acts, is that it's that which pushed him and inspired him in his life, having been standing there and watching Stephen die. It inspired him to go and to preach the gospel and to go into missionary effort. So even though it may seem like a tragedy that Stephen died as a martyr, the influence of his life goes on, and indeed goes on to today, because Paul's efforts in missions was to take the gospel to the Gentile world, which is most of us. So we also are the benefit from the death of Stephen and the subsequent preaching of the gospel to the rest of the world. Think about that, and think about whether it is worthwhile or not to be willing to give your life for the cause of the gospel. And there are those around the world that are doing that today, and even though it might seem like a tragedy, that this very day that people are going to die for the cause of Christ somewhere in the world, be martyred, that though they be dead, yet shall they speak. God bless you.